After a 2 hour and 16-minute episode last week, I figured let's do a sweet little episode this week. And I wanted to share some of my weird beauty and wellness things that have worked for me the last year to 6 months that I really think have made a big change in both my beauty routine and my wellness routine. So this episode does feature some girly things, but there are some things that I think my dudes could use too and start implementing into their routine. This last week, it was Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. We went on Friday and went swan hunting. Both Cooper and I have swan tags here in Utah. It was so much fun. I have to say, I'm not a waterfowl hunter. It's not something that I've done a lot of. If you've listened to the podcast for a while, you've heard some of my experiences doing that prior to kids. And then Cody and Coop kind of took on the waterfowl hunting as it was something that Cooper could do as he was younger. And I kind of let that be their thing while I had the baby at home, Rivers, who's now 8. So he ain't a baby no more. But it was fun. The whole family got to go out. We went with Hayden Ferran, who has a boat, and they took us out swan hunting. However, it is kind of a unique and weird year, I think, for the swan hunt is what I'm kind of gathering. Again, I'm learning as I go with this. And we didn't see any swans. Long story short. But it was fun to get out as a family, and that was River's first time going out on the boat duck hunting. And so it was really fun to kind of let Cooper teach me a thing or two and learn from him and be the student, and for Rivers and I both to experience what it is that Cooper loves so much. So that's what we did on Friday. Just a little update, because I know some people were following the swan hunt. Hopefully we can get out again before the hunt closes. Ideally, it would be helpful if a storm would roll in. But we did get some ducks. So it was a really good practice run, going through the shotguns, the motions. You have to be quick. You have to be real quick with the shotgun to be successful in getting a bird. So like I said, it was a really good run through and a lot of fun. Let's get into some of the weird beauty and wellness things that I have been doing and loving and making a big difference for me. So the first thing, starting off real strong, real weird. Maybe these aren't weird to you, but different and unique. Something that I've been doing the last, I would say, 3 months is mouth taping. I don't know if you've seen mouth taping around on the internet, but it has really gotten a lot of traction lately. And when I first saw it, I am super, super claustrophobic. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to be taping my mouth shut. Like, no, thank you. But as time went on and I was kind of seeing the benefits, one thing that I've heard a lot on and why people are doing it is for deep, restful sleep and to help you sleep and a deep restful sleep and then be able to breathe through your nose at night versus breathing with your mouth open, causing dryness, bad breath, like sore throat. So restful deep sleep. And then the other thing is like getting a nice defined jawline is a big thing for mouth taping, is just like realigning your jaw at night. And this is what really got me was I have really bad TMJ. So I was noticing the last few months that I was clenching my jaw really bad at night. So I'd wake up where I had such bad headaches in my temples. And then also a vanity factor was getting footage back from my buffalo hunt and noticing that like my jawline was just a little lax, if you will. Vanity. Like a little that where's your jaw from side angle. So between those two things, like I said, I can admit there's a vanity factor there. I decided to tape my mouth shut one night and just see how it went. And I don't have specific mouth tape that I'm currently using. If you guys have recommendations, I know there's a black one on Amazon that's really fantastic. And then obviously like the OG, the one you see everywhere, is the Skinny Confidential mouth tape that is super pretty and pink. And then it has the little mouth hole. So if you do wake up in the middle of the night and need a drink, you're able to stick your straw in there and grab a little swig. But I had medical tape. And so I'm like, I'm just going to cut a strip off that, try it, see how it goes for the night. Because again, at this point, I'm just waking up every night with these excruciating temple headaches in the morning. Cody was gone, so I figured it's the perfect time to do it, right? Like, I'm not going to go to bed all weird with my mouth tape shut. However, I did not warn my kids that I did this, and Rivers is an early riser. So the next morning, the first like little bit, I'm like, it's okay. And then I ended up falling asleep, and I was so asleep, restful sleep. And then I wake up to Rivers, my little early bird, poking me to wake up, at 6 o'clock in the morning. He's seeing if he can go watch some cartoons, maybe get something for breakfast, kind of a thing. And I remember rolling over and he was like and like peel it off. I'm like, it's okay. Like he's like, what in the hell happened to mom last night? And I explained to him what I was doing and the purposes behind it, and like, you know, how to explain, like, we just don't, whatever. So that poor little kid was terrified, like, what happened to mom last night? So that was pretty funny. And then I was like, wow, I woke up, I didn't have that temple pain, the headache, and just continued to do it. And then Cody got home and I slapped on my mouth tape, and he's kind of like, I'm like, oh, by the way, I've started mouth taping. He's like, what? And, you know, I thought it would have been his dream come true. Like, you don't want my mouth tape shut? You don't want me being like, are you awake? What are you thinking about? What you doing? But he giggled. And then, of course, he decided to try and talk to me as I'm like trying to go to sleep, and I have to peel off my mouth tape and talk to him. But mouth taping, I have been doing it pretty consistently for the most part, aside from like times of being sick. And I will say, I do notice a huge difference in my sleep. I tend to find myself waking up feeling very rejuvenated and peaceful. I did, in fact, the first time make sure I timed my slumber gummy so I knew I was going to be like out of it. Not out of it, but like I'm slipping to bed as it starts to kick in, and I just slap that bad boy on. But I have noticed a big difference in my headaches, and then the vanity factor that I was, in fact, going after. I do feel as if it has helped define my jawline, and I really enjoy that. So mouth taping is something that I continue to use, and I see me continuing to use. I think I'm going to invest in a couple different mouth tapes, and I can let you know as I try them which ones I do prefer and go from there. So mouth taping, I'm curious. Do you guys mouth tape? Have you been doing this a while? Like, it's not something new. I've heard that it's been recommended, you know, by different doctors and dentists, and I don't know. I like mouth taping. Speaking of things that help with, you know, the definition of your face and your face itself, I have been doing this for years, and that is facial massage. And when I'm consistent with that, I really find a huge difference in this. And I do notice like depuffing, especially, you know, if you've had a long day, if you've had a glass of wine, you know, a little cry the day before, whatever it may be, too much salt from chips and salsa. I really like doing facial massage. There's plenty of videos out there. I could post one online if you wanted like the exact run through, but a lot of times I'll just use my fingers, and I like to use oil. I like to do it on a clean face, and I do this in the morning after I wake up. And there's just something really relaxing about maybe like having your cup of coffee or sitting and talking to your spouse, whoever, and just going through and like giving yourself a little bit of that self-care in the morning. So I'll open up the lymphatic drainage, you know, getting those areas and pulsing 5 times to open that up. And then you'll want to drag your knuckles like in the defined areas. You can just use your knuckles, your 2 fingers, get it around like your cheekbones and drag those up and away. And then you can do your forehead, little C's with your fingers, little claws, and go up around your eyebrow area. You can hit your nose. And then the key factor to all this, especially when it's working with lymphatic drainage, is you want to make sure that you help it drain, which I know sounds so bizarre and this sounds disgusting, but sometimes I feel like you can almost, feel it like running through your throat, if you will, but you want to make sure that you're helping your body detoxify that. I've heard cases where like if you're not doing this, then a lot of times it can get stuck in the lymphatic or in the lymphs, and then you end up with things like a headache. So you want to make sure that after you come up and away and around, then you want to drag it down towards your heart so that your body can then cleanse that. So facial massage, I think, makes a huge difference. There's really great tools. I also have a hair in my lip gloss. No, got it. There's also really great tools like ice rollers. I have a massage ball, and I will link it in the show notes, but it's a little round massage ball, and it's got a ball inside of it and then a hand grip. And I'll put that in the fridge or the freezer, and I'll rub that in the motions and through my cheekbones and help just depuff. And the cooling factor just feels so nice and helps you wake up. And I also think this does help with like your collagen and producing more of it. And then also just like those fine lines and wrinkles, and you just look a little more chiseled, refined, awake. And it just is really calming too. Even all my boys, including Cody, enjoy the little facial ball massage because it does feel really nice. I do also have a little vibrator. Sounds so bad. A little pocket vibrator that I use specifically for this, and it has little metal balls on there, and I got this off Amazon, and same thing, it does the vibrating motion, and I can use that to just really get in there and define stuff. So those are all things you can work up towards. I don't know if I'm saying this properly, but you can use like a gua sha, you can use a jade roller, anything along those lines. And I do think putting those in the fridge, if you're able to, putting them in the fridge or the freezer and cooling those down and using that really just helps kick up the process that much more and is that much more calming. So facial massage, I think, makes a big difference and gives you that definition while also helping with lymphatic drainage, which is very important for our bodies. After spending months on the mountain, hunting, soaking up all that natural sunlight, the days are now getting shorter and colder. I don't even have to tell you this. I personally have experienced that this time of year affects my vitamin D levels to be low, which impacts things like my mood and energy levels, just to name two things. I'm preparing to keep my vitamin D levels where they should be with the help of Mountain Op's vitamin D3 plus K2 gummies. These are delicious strawberry gummies that are a convenient way to help you get more vitamin D intake every day. Adding this to my daily routine has helped me conquer my days, whether I'm on the mountain, in the gym, working, or being a spouse and parent. You can get your Mountain Ops vitamin D3 plus K2 gummies at mountainops.com today. A few of our favorite other things in the cooler months that we love from Mountain Ops are their down jackets, their merino wool collections, their hoodies, the Slumber cider and salted caramel drinks. I love sipping on a warm drink in the winter. And you know, we love our deep, restful, rejuvenating sleep. Hydration is also super important in the wintertime too. So be sure to check out their pineapple hydrate. It's the one back there. This is their new flavor and it seriously tastes like a Dole Whip. My kids love this hydrate. And because I just looked back there and I realized what else I have back there, Ignite. Need I say more? Energy and focus. To shop our favorites and help donate a meal to a child in need, go to mountainops.com and use our code BRIT, that's BRITT, for 20% off. Again, that's mountainops.com and use our code BRIT, BRITT, for 20% off. Speaking of lymphatic drainage, this is something that I started in the summer, and this is dry brushing. Dry brushing has been around since forever. All kinds of different cultures do it. It's been done for centuries. And something that made me want to start dry brushing was taking the lymphatic drainage and doing it throughout my whole body, because I would notice, especially after like really big hikes, that my legs, I could tell, I'm sure you guys have noticed this too, like even the day after, how much you retain water after like a big gnarly hike. So that's when I decided to try dry brushing, was to start that lymphatic drainage throughout my body. And I went and purchased a dry brush. You can get these at like your local drugstore. Here's mine, a little ASMR for you. This one came really, really hard bristled, I will say, and it's taken time because when I first started, I'm like, huh? But when you look up dry brushing and the motions to do it, again, you want to bring everything upwards towards your heart. So on your legs, you want to do what I do is 10 passes in each area. And I do this in the shower. So this little guy stays in the shower. Cody thought it was to clean his hats with. It's my dry brush. Put it in the shower and I go upwards on my legs and I do 10 strokes as I go by. So this does take a little bit of time. I do this a couple of times a week in the shower, but as you get more comfortable doing it, the quicker you'll get at it. And I just really get those defined areas, especially like around my kneecaps up to my inner thigh area and on the outside where I feel like the swelling really stays at that area. I'll go through and dry brush, and this makes your skin so buttery smooth. Plus, like I said, I really do think it helps with that drainage and that swelling and just helps your body process that through. So you want to go upward on your legs in motion. Then I'll also go upwards onto my stomach. Again, you want to open up those lymph areas. And then you can also do like counterclockwise on your stomach. And then on your arms, you want to go downwards. So everything you want to move towards your heart area, whatever direction you're going, is what I've been taught. I know there's a whole bunch of different theories on it. I haven't had any problems doing so. And I just get like every nook and cranny behind my arms, on the bottom parts of it. And I do think this has also helped, and this could be the placebo effect, but hey, listen, I'm here for it, okay? I'll take where I can take it. I do think this has helped my body, like I said, get rid of the debloating and puffing, and then also showing the definition and helping my body produce that collagen. And that was one of the big things too, aside from just getting rid of that swelling, was, you know, as time goes on, especially for women, we do start to notice a lot more cellulite. It's totally normal, but I have heard that dry brushing will help with this. And I do think that I have noticed a major difference in the cellulite on the legs, because it wasn't something that I really had until, I don't know, the last few years, especially after my weight loss. And that was the other part of it too, was just trying to help my body's collagen produce to where everything could tighten back up, because after weight loss it's so hard to, for me personally, my skin had a lot of loose areas, and I do feel like the dry brushing and obviously just time has helped tighten up the areas and the collagen production and helping with the debluffing. So dry brushing, I really, really, really love this. It's something that I do think you have to get used to. Like I said, I do it in the shower, and it does help with exfoliation as well, so you'll get that buttery smooth skin. With this too, something that you can do, and this is great for women if you notice bloating, I'll link it below, but Gracie Norton has a really fantastic video about like debloating and depuffing of your stomach area, and massages that you can do just with your hands, like laying down or in the shower. I'll often do this in the shower when I'm feeling just a little puffy. And again, it's just lymphatic drainage, and she does a specific one that really helps the stomach area. And this also will help, like I said, with bloating and constipation. So you cannot go wrong with dry brushing and lymphatic drainage. These things, like, I mean, even if you were just use your hands on all this, is free, and like one of these is like $5. So dry brushing and lymphatic drainage for your body. Since we're still talking about body and face and beauty, I want to mention castor oil. This is a, let's see, you want to be very specific. I think it's like cold pressed. Yeah. So you want to get organic cold pressed castor oil. I have been using this specifically for my hair growth on my eyebrows and my eyelashes. So many of us, especially I think, you know, if you lived through the early 2000s, you are a victim of the overplucked eyebrows and also lash extensions, if I had to guess. Which then, if you are like me and you don't naturally grow a lot of them, you're lacking and it just feels bleh. And listen, we're all about like the high maintenance, low maintenance life, and also enhancing like our natural beauty. And so this was something that I decided to get instead of, I've had awesome like lash serums, but those a lot of times they're finding that it can cause decoloration of your eyes, of your eyelids, also deteriorating like the collagen under your eyes themselves, so causing hollow eyes. And castor oil is just a natural way to grow back your hair. So I put this every night in my eyebrows and then also in my eyelashes. And during the summer too, when I was going without eyelash extensions or lashes and just really rocking like the all natural lashes, because there's nothing better than like a good tan and just like being a little beach babe, castor oil made a huge difference, and I noticed such a big difference in my eyelashes. I've been so excited to see that they're coming back strong. I've got beautiful natural eyelashes now, not currently on, just full transparency, but they're there. I can put mascara on. They're now up high, they're thick, and it's just with castor oil. And this you can get anywhere. You can get them on Amazon. This one I think I even ended up getting at Walmart, and it is organic, and it's a conditioning oil, and it really does help thicken your eyelashes and eyebrows. So this is something super easy and affordable, because a lot of those lash growth serums are hundreds of dollars, which is worth the investment. But if you're looking for a more natural route to go, castor oil, I've enjoyed the benefits, and I do think I've seen more growth honestly than I did with like my grande lash. There's also so many amazing benefits to castor oil. A lot of people like to use it to brighten underneath their eyes and things like that. Just because the weather is getting colder doesn't mean you shouldn't be thinking about upgrading your cooler. We still have plenty of adventures to take, food to keep cold while you're going on them, and you want to keep them from getting soggy. There's nothing worse than reaching in for like your snack and the paper is wet and soggy, or your cheese is soggy. Plus, you want to be able to keep those drinks cold, keep those mountains blue and the water refreshing after that hike. Not to mention, be able to keep your meat cold on the way to the butcher or taking it home. So where are you going to put all that? In a cooler that's ultra lightweight? Are you going to be able to keep those drinks cold, those mountains blue, and your food organized? Are you going to be able to keep those snacks easily accessible? How about knowing that your cooler can float upright every time? No need to panic on the duck boat anymore. Rugged Road coolers offer all this. And they have new sizing. They have the smaller V25. This can hold up to 25 12-ounce cans. It's kind of like a cool bigger version of a lunch pill, but it still has all of our favorite features of the Rugged Road, the flip top, and the snack rack. Plus, now they have the big daddy of them all, the 115. This sucker will hold some meat, and we're excited. Ours is currently on its way. Like I mentioned, the Rugged Road is ultra lightweight. As you can see, one hand, it has this flip top, which I think would be super nice come duck season to be able to, one, sit on an extra bench, and then two, be able to sit and make your food on something, some cup holders as well. And then, like I mentioned, inside it does have the snack rack. So you've got a place to put your things, a divider, so you know whose drinks go where and what. And it has top of the line ice retention. To get your new cooler, go to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use our code LONG, that's LONG, for 10% off your next cooler. Tell them we sent you by going to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use our code LONG again for 10% off your next order. Something when it comes to not only benefiting my skin, but kind of like this like encompasses it all. My skin toning up, my energy levels, feeling better is protein. And you'll probably hear me say this on every health and wellness podcast because it is truly the number one thing that I think has made the largest impact in my health and wellness this last year. And that is really focusing on my protein intake. Especially, I think it was probably like April that I really just took a step back from my nutrition. You guys have heard my story about tracking macros, my weight loss. Now I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I just want to simplify it that much more and I want to get rid of food noise. And for me, how do I take that and like really benefit myself? It was focusing on protein. So that was my only main focus. And as I did that, I found myself craving and wanting more and more like red meat and fish. Not so much into chicken anymore, or poultry just in general, but like red meat and fish. And when I was looking at my wellness, it's like when I hear hunters say they don't know how to take control of their health and wellness, how to eat properly, it's like, if you have a freezer full of the meat that you have harvested, sorry, there's no excuse. Get that out, start cooking that daily, be eating your protein at every meal. Like you guys have seen, I love my eggs with my ground meat. I love like steak and eggs. I also really love my burger bowls. Like I crave just a bowl of ground meat and like some mustard. But protein is so important. You guys have heard this 1,000 times. I don't need to go into all the science of it. But once I started doing that, I slowly found myself, like I said, really kind of weaning out everything else because I was building my meals around protein first. That was the first thing I worried about. And as time went on, I was noticing that I was really just starting to eat a lot more. A lot of people call it animal-based. But again, I'm not like set to one diet because you've heard me say, like, if I want chips and salsa, I'm going to have chips and salsa. But for the most part, I'm eating berries and meat because that is where my body is happiest and thriving. My energy levels, the way that my focus has been, like I'm not feeling scatterbrained because my body is getting those amino acids that are so important, the natural creatine from animals. And then I noticed too how much my skin had changed. I feel like there's so much more of a glow to my skin, and also a lot of my acne had cleared up. And then with that, the like benefits physically were as I would do my workouts, I was feeling a lot stronger. I was noticing my hard work paying off, which is so nice to like be able to get footage back and be like, holy shit, like whose shoulders are those? Mine. I've always wanted a shoulder cap, but it's because I'm feeding my body properly and I'm focusing on the protein. So that's like my biggest tip for you guys, maybe going into the new year, is like get rid of the food noise. And when you're building a plate, focus on the protein and then build around that. And I do think that again helped kind of like tighten things up. I'm far from perfect when I say all these things, but just like one girlfriend to another, it feels really, really nice to get rid of the like, I said food noise. I think that's a big word right now, but it's the perfect way to describe, I think, how so many people feel when it comes to food and nutrition. And then just to see the physical changes, because even when I'm lifting heavy, I see the changes. But the biggest thing for me too is I don't feel like I'm having to put so much work in to see those changes between eating meat, lifting a couple times a week, doing Pilates here and there, and then the biggest thing, like you've heard, is doing my walks. Even if I'm just eating my protein and doing my walks, my body is like, what up, babe? I got you. So protein, again, I really think if you are a hunter and you're wondering where to start with your nutrition, get into your freezer, see what you have, and start cooking that meat, baby. And then I'll kind of end it on this one. This one's definitely for the girls, but I do think if you are a guy and you've listened this far, it is important to know these things when it comes to the women in your life. You know, whether you've got a girlfriend, wife, daughters, your mom, your sister, friends, something that the last year I have been taking into consideration and has helped me the way that I see my body, see how it is I'm feeling week by week, and the way that I show up in the gym or even with my nutrition and what my body needs is through cycle syncing. And I don't even necessarily think that I'm so much like a cycle syncer as just a cycle tracker, knowing where my hormones stand, because hormones play such a huge part in being a human. And then you add in the female hormones as well. To give you an idea of what cycle syncing is, this is like a quick AI overview from Google, is cycle syncing is a self-care practice that involves adjusting your lifestyle to match the phases of your menstrual cycle. The goal is to improve your well-being by aligning your diet, exercise, and other activities with your body's natural hormone fluctuations. So I'm going to give you a little health lesson, okay? So you have your menstrual phase. I don't think I need to explain that much to anyone, but this does last 3 to 7 days. This is you naturally increase in insulin sensitivity, and PMS is obviously present. Hello, it's here. At this point, like you want to prioritize rest, self-care, and doing like lighter workouts and just like really listening to your body and understanding, like giving yourself grace if you're not feeling well to not do a workout. And then from there, doing things like light walks or not crazy like HIIT workouts go a long way because your body is obviously expending a lot of energy at that moment. And then after that, you have the follicular phase. This is 7 to 10 days. This is where you come out of it, you're in like la la land, you're feeling real good. That's for me, they call it like the rebirth. You have a lot more energy during this time. So this is when it's like go time. A lot of people find that they're like super creative during this phase and just like leaning into that. But you're like, God damn, like last week was a shit show. And then you're like, hi, I'm back, bitches. Follicular phase. And then you have your ovulation phase. A lot of times people feel a lot more spicy during this phase for obvious reasons. A lot of people say this is their highest energy, but I don't find this for me. I'm like, I think it's because I'm naturally just done. So I'm like, no. So again, I think a lot of times through like your follicular to your ovulation phase, they kind of overlap and you're feeling pretty good. And then you go into dun 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 the luteal phase. Fuck the luteal phase, in my opinion. And this is 10 days. So again, the energy can still be running over. This is really when you need to connect with your intuition. And at some point, you're probably going to be feeling like when you're wondering, like, she's being a bitch. She's in the thick of her luteal phase and her period is right around the corner. That is why. And for us women too, we're like, why are we feeling so sensitive? Again, luteal phase. And just kind of learning that, I too think helps you not feel like so crazy, you know? And that's when you're just learning to kind of slow down, wrapping things up because you understand, you know, Aunt Flo's about to show up and you might have 1 or 2 days where you're just feeling like a pile of shit and the cramps are winning. So understanding your menstrual phase goes a long ways. This is something that I think is becoming more and more common. And believe it or not, guys, this was not something that we were taught in school as women. Yes, we were told like, here's the phases. This is what happens in your body. But we weren't kind of told like what our hormones are doing and why we're feeling certain ways and how to move with those. So obviously during your menstrual phase, like eating really high iron items, getting in like your organ meat, your red meat is really important, your berries, and then just listening to your body and also looking at like, oh, okay, right now I can crush it in the gym. I have the energy to do it. And then like the next week, you know what? You're not like It's okay not to push my body so hard, and that's okay. Lean into it, but still take care of yourself and still show up and walk in which ways you can. So I know that maybe sounds like a lot, but I think as a woman, it is so important and so empowering. And then also, as time goes on, like learning this about yourself and the ways that everybody reacts differently in certain phases is also something good to know, and just like kind of take an audit, check yourself. Like, what phase are you in? I can literally start to be like, wow, I'm feeling so sensitive. And then I look and I'm like, oh, my luteal phase. I even told Cody one time. Cody will be like, I'll look at him when he's breathing and he'll be like, are you in your luteal phase? I'm like, mm-hmm. It's like the sound of you breathing. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. But then other times I'm like, you know? So cycle tracking is very important. And with that, I would lead into saying, if you haven't listened to the episode with Kayla Olson, that one's a fantastic episode to listen to for both men and women, because we talk about both the female hormones and also then men's hormones and testosterone, because you guys have your own set of hormones and how that regulates and what it is that you need, especially, you know, as time goes on, as you get to certain ages, activities, things like that, which I've been reaching out and trying to bring on a dude that's within that space so they can speak specifically to you guys, because obviously I know nothing. But that episode's a really fantastic one to at least start on and get an idea if you're really looking to take control of your health and your hormones. You know, you can start now before 2025. But if that's something you have in mind and something you want to look into for the new year, then that episode is a great one to check out. Like I said, this was going to be a quick episode. It's probably a bit bizarre, but these are things that I love hearing and learning. And because so many people have shared little tidbits and pieces of their journey and what they've done, these are things that I've picked up along the way and have found work well for me. I would love to hear if there's like weird wellness or beauty shit that you do that people are like, huh, just lived like a little bit bizarre, but could be beneficial. I would love to be a guinea pig and try. I would love to try it and see, but these are things that I have been consistently doing and have noticed changes with that are not just trends. Things I would love to try is like beef tallow. I really want to get into beef tallow. I want to find like a beef tallow, I don't know, dealer and get tallow and make whipped tallow for my face. I've heard that's real good. Speaking of dealers, like a raw milk dealer too, you know? Love to get onto that shit. So I hope you take something away from this, or it was helpful. You learned something, even if it was about the female cycle. The more you know. It's good to know that for your girl and be in the know and learn those things. And then you know what to feed her, when to avoid her, when to love her. That is all. So I will check in with you guys next week, and I look forward to a few guests coming on. It's just getting through the holidays, I think, is getting a little tricky. If there's something specific you would like me to hit on, hopefully we can come back in with a successful swan hunt story. That would be really cool with me and Cooper. Then let us know. If you are listening to this, it would really mean so much if you would share it on social media and tag us. That goes such a long ways for a small show like ourselves. It just helps get the word out with social media really loving to just shove us right down the feed with all the hunting stuff. So it is appreciated. Check in next week.